Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Let's give it just a 10-second hold before we go official. Okay, what is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 601. Alongside partner in crime, Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing really good. We are in front of a live virtual audience, and I see some people trickling in, and they will comment. We encourage you to comment. This show, of course, gets repackaged all neatly for you in your wherever you get your podcast. It also goes to YouTube. You know, you can always watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/TAGSPodcast. And why do I say that? It's because we just celebrated 600 episodes that dropped yesterday on Tuesday. And it was such a feat. Most of my co hosts reminded me of what a feat it was. I don't think I really realized it until everybody said, "What are we doing for 600?" And then I was like, oh, okay. I guess it is kind of a monumental moment in podcasting land. And we did it and we celebrated it by I interviewed each and every one of the hosts, and I had such a good time with that, Kodi, of
Aw.
spending about 15 minutes with each host, which we don't get to do on this show that much. We get everybody's opinions. We hear from all of the co-hosts, but to really just kind of sit down with each and every one of you, and I'm talking about you, Lincoln, Jeremy, Teddy, Alexis, was such a treat for me to get see where we've come and where each and every one of you has been. Talk about dating and sexuality, talk about your
Yeah.
podcasting style, how it's maybe evolved, your approach to the show, how you've thought about sexuality before and during tags was all so fun. And everybody just, it was just a labor of love. It was so much fun. And I encourage everybody to watch it if you can, or listen to it. It's episode 600, wherever you get your podcasts. But of course, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch all the interviews. They're all neatly packaged up. Go to
Oh,
youtube.com/TAGSPodcast. So, yeah, and you were a part of it. What'd you think?
I was. It was amazing. It was so wonderful to, kind of unravel my journey here with you guys and just, get to show my love for the show. So, hello to everyone out there. Hello, darlings. And I love being with you guys. And thank you so much for, you know, having the show, period.
I love it. And this I was going to ask you offline, but I'll just ask you here on. We're meeting
Oh,
on Friday for a
we
different
are.
project, but maybe you can interview me for 10, 15 minutes, kind of like Interview Magazine does.
Cute.
Since I'm the host and creator of Tags Podcast, I thought it'd be fun. Maybe you could just interview me. And I will post it for our Patreon community, and you'll learn a little bit more kind of like why I started the show and all fun stuff. Whatever Kodi wants to ask me, he has full
Lovely. You better get
full
ready.
access. Okay, it'll be fun.
All
I'm excited.
access. Yes, me
All
too. Can't wait.
access. A little bit of business here that we want to next Tuesday. So we're live every Wednesday night, as you know, on the Crowdcast platform. This show gets repackaged and comes in your podcasting land on Thursday. But next Tuesday, Tags Live will be live Tuesday, September 24th with Kodi Maurice Doggette and Teddy Alexis. They will be hosting the show a day early. You get Tags Live a day early. What could be better? So if you like to watch us live, tune in next Tuesday, September 24th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time with host Kodi Maurice Doggette and co-host Teddy Alexis
Mm.
Rodriguez. And yes, we talked about that in our interview that we share the same last name. And that's why one of the reasons why he joined the show, because he was looking up sex podcasts because he was exploring his sexuality a little bit more as a gay man. And he just put
Mhm.
into Apple Podcasts gay sex. And 2 podcasts
Boom.
showed up. We were one of them, but because my last name was Rodriguez and so is his, he decided to choose ours. And lo and
Oh, wow.
behold, he loved it. And we invited him to, we had him on as a guest for a short film. And then he became a co host, Anna
Yes,
Navarro
he did.
of TAGSPodcast. And so that's the kind of thing you'll hear on episode 600. So I encourage you to check it out. We also have a bonus episode out right now, an episode that you won't get on Tags Podcast when you join our Patreon community. You can get free stuff too, but you won't get this bonus episode. So I encourage you to support Tags. Head over to patreon.com/Tags Podcast. And we just dropped it last week. It's an extra episode. Who doesn't want that? More tags.
Yeah.
Come
Right.
on now.
It's a no-brainer, darling. No-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. I love it. Hello to Cali Dad watching us live. Hello to Malibu also watching us. And keep those comments coming in. Okay, well, I couldn't help but talk about this. It just cracked me up. So we in America are in the middle of an election season, as you all know. But there was one artist that I didn't know about before, but a reggaeton artist by the name of Nicky Jam. And the reason why I thought it was so funny was he decided to show his support last week for Donald Trump. He actually was at a rally with Donald Trump, and they are shown shaking hands. And he said that he was just so dissatisfied with the Biden administration as a Puerto Rican artist that they didn't support his people. And he is at a rally last week showing his support for Donald Trump. And that all went down last week. Well, Donald Trump was in another rally that he heard from his people. So stay with the story. He had met Nicky Jam on stage. Nicky Jam shows his support on a sidebar. Manu, which is one of my favorite Mexican rock bands. Maná, sorry. Forget that. Maná, who I adore. They've been around forever. They've worked with Nicky Jam in the past. And the minute they heard that Nicky Jam supported Donald Trump, they ripped the song that they had worked on together off of their catalog. Why? Because Maná is all about immigration and about supporting legal status, but about supporting, and they said Donald Trump is a racist. We've worked with Nicky Jam. We don't want to be associated with him. So they removed him. So that was one bad thing. Well, lo and behold, apparently Nicky Jam was in the audience at an upcoming Trump rally, and Trump decided to shout out in the audience, well, I hear Nicky Jam is here. Isn't she such a beautiful woman? And misgendered Nicky Jam for probably, who knows what was going on in his mind. His people were not on it. And the thing is, Kodi, all these Latin artists and people in general were making fun of him in general for supporting Trump, but you can support whoever you want. But this was such a backfire moment, and how embarrassing for Nicky Jam. Most of us didn't even know who Nicky Jam was to begin with. I mean, it's not like Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris. This is somebody that really wasn't on the radar for everybody, maybe in a certain circle, which kudos to him. But now he's on the radar in the worst way possible. What did you think about when you heard this? I just love the story because it was so ridiculous on so many levels.
Oh yeah, he got his just desserts as far as I'm concerned. I think that, you know what, when people support someone that doesn't even know their name, and it as opposed to someone who would, probably go to bat for them and be behind them and do all the things that were necessary to support them, then it makes me really sad. And I feel like Nicky Jam is learning a lesson right about now about who is going to have your back and who is going to actually think you're a woman. I don't know if Nicky Jam is one of those transgender aliens in prison that are but I think that this is something that, I don't know who Nicky Jam is, and I'm not going to even learn because I think that I've said his name already too many times in this segment.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where we know you for the wrong reasons, and
Hmm.
this wasn't a good one. It's just like it's almost worse than Scott Baio because Scott Baio, of course, is a Trump
Who?
supporter from, if anyone remembers, Happy Days or
Charles
Chachi,
in Charge.
Charles
Oh,
in
Joni loves
Charge.
Chachi. Ugh.
I know it's so
I
stupid.
erased all of those from my memory.
Yeah, he has now moved himself into that. So that's what you get. Okay. Moving on to other hot topics that have made the news that we couldn't talk about this story. You might be asking why we're talking about it. We'll tell you in a second. But we had to talk about Sean Diddy Combs, who pleads not guilty to sex trafficking and racketeering. This is crazy, Kodi, because
Yeah.
he's pleaded not guilty to sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was just in a hearing and he was denied bail. He actually, Kodi, put up 50 million, I think it was $50 million to get himself
Wow.
out because who knows when this case will actually be tried. It was denied because he's, as the judge stated today, he is a threat because of these allegations. And
Hmm.
there's, if anyone ever saw that video that's out there where he
Yep.
kicks which the
Cassie.
artist Cassie,
Cassie.
you know, the proof is in the pudding. It's out there. And I don't know. I mean, he is now currently in jail in Brooklyn with none other than Austin Wolf. We were just talking about Austin Wolf recently.
Maybe they're
Only,
cellmates. Oh my gosh, they would have all the fun.
I mean, I don't know, but
I'm sorry.
I did a little
Sorry.
deeper
Diddy
diving
is too
in.
old for Austin Wolf. Sorry.
Yeah, a good one. Exactly. I think when you're that famous, not Austin Wolf famous, but Pete Diddy, he is kept in a cell that's separate and he's on suicide watch. And
Okay.
apparently, he gets his meals. He doesn't go out to the regular where you get your meals normally. It's brought to him, a tray of food. And because they have to kind of watch out for this kind of stuff, but they denied him. He offered $50 million plus the fact that he won't go see women or any of that. But these allegations, there was something in some of these allegations, they were really explicit. And some of the things that they accused him of were having these things called freak off parties. What does that mean? Where he made women perform sex acts on male prostitutes. There was allegations of bribery, forcing people to do drugs, kidnapping, and sexual assault, arson, and much more. They discovered thousands of bottles of baby oil and lubricant. And I go back to why we are talking about in this first place because we are a sex podcast. We've talked about going to sex progressive parties, sex positive parties, figuring out how to cruise in cruise bars, how to go, how to have your own sex party and explore your sexuality. The difference is with consent. And that's what we always talk about on this show. This these allegations allude to the fact that he had forced women and often men too, drugged them and forced them to do things under, not their consent. And so this is crazy. What did you think when you heard about all this? Have you heard rumblings throughout the years? What's going on?
Oh, there have been things out there about Diddy for since the 90s, especially when at his height when he was dating J-Lo and things of that nature. So I feel like this has been not necessarily to this degree because the freak off parties, who would have known that he is the new R. Kelly as far as things are going down. But I mean, I definitely heard rumblings of him being uh, um, a very freaky person, sexually. And I do think that you are 100% correct in saying that the difference between the parties that we have been to and his parties is that the consent is key there. I feel like there have been pushy people in those spaces before, but at the end of the day, no means no, and that is so important. I feel like for Diddy, because one of my points was going to be that if he would have only found people that were as freaky as he is, then he would have been totally fine. But I think
Yeah.
part of the kink for him, I feel like, is the power, having
The
power
control,
over
the
somebody else.
power, and
Exactly.
the
So,
abuse of power. So
yep.
I'm sure he came from probably modest means. And
Hmm.
it's so disturbing and sad to see somebody take their power and wealth and turn it into something that's so insidious.
Yeah, and it's really sad, especially for the people that he has hurt over the years. Dawn Richard, one of my favorite artists, she was in making the band whatever Danity Kane, that group, and she was in Diddy Dirty Money with him too, and that album is phenomenal. But I find it hard to listen to now because she's come out with allegations against him of abuse as well. Not necessarily sexual abuse, I don't think, but it's abuse nonetheless. And I am having a really hard time separating the music, which is so pervasive in my whole playlist, from the person and the things, the horrible things that they have done. R. Kelly was easy for me. I could cut him out. If I hear it, then I'm like, ooh, oh, okay, that was something that was cool back in the day. But I was able to cut it out of my playlist. I didn't really have a whole bunch of R. Kelly on my iPod, but Diddy is a whole different story, and he is the producer on so many songs. So I'm really, I don't know what to do on this when I'm doing some soul searching. So yeah, but he's a horrible person, and I think that he belongs under the jail. Him and Austin Wolf.
Well, let's let both of these cases run their course to
True,
prove that they
allegedly.
are, and then we'll see. But this, I mean, true. We just got to
Yeah,
see this is where he's at
allegedly.
now, but we'll see. And then you can decide on what you want to do with all that music that you got on your phone. Let's switch gears a little bit
Well,
oh, go ahead.
no. I was gonna say the good thing is I own a lot of the music, so I don't have to necessarily replay it on and get a lot of give him any money for any of the music, any more money actually. Sorry, go
Let's
ahead.
change course to something positive because President Biden, don't forget, he's still our president here in America, because I know we have an international audience, but President Biden, who I really adore for so many reasons, you'll hear why I love him in this next article. It's an article that I really want a lot of people to read. It was by The Blade, and The Blade is an LGBTQ publication, news source, and they just interviewed President Biden in the Oval Office. It's the first interview ever by a LGBTQ plus publication interviewing a president in the Oval Office that he agreed to. And it's such a beautiful article. I was almost emotional at the end of it because I think a lot of people don't realize how Biden really supports our community. And I know there's a lot of listeners that have challenged me on, oh, you know, Trump really is who I'm supporting, and you guys are always so down on Trump. Well, here's why. If you read this article, what he's done for our community. One of the things that I loved is he was such a proponent and talked about the Stonewall activists back in the day. He actually went to Stonewall here in New York, met with the original Stonewall activists, and was part of when Obama erected the Stonewall uh, monument. He was a part of it, and it was so cool. He's talked about how it takes courage to be LGBTQ plus and to navigate your way through uh, life here. He was, like I said, he was part of the national monument at Stonewall that was erected by Obama and himself. His
Hmm.
administration really reflects LGBTQ in there. Why? Because he says he doesn't care who you love in the bedroom, it's about smarts. And he wanted his administration to reflect America. He has
Hmm.
supported gay marriage even before President Obama. He was ahead of it. And I think a lot of people don't know that. And one of the things that he shared in this article that I think everybody should read, and I'll post it on Tags Podcast, reference episode 601, is that when he was a teenage boy, he credits a lot of his outlook to his very progressive dad, who he just talks a lot about his dad, but his dad,
Mhm.
he recalls a point when he was a teenage boy and he saw two men kissing and he was like shocked. And his father turned to him and said, Joey, he called him Joey. He says, this is just love. They're entitled to exactly what we, and it changed his viewpoint immediately from his father. And this is in Delaware, in a remote part of, the States. The two men were kissing. And I don't know, that just really touched me. He's done so many things that the one thing I will give shame to the administration is that they don't toot their horn enough. And I think
Mhm.
they need to a little bit more. He's done so many things, advancement in health equity, such as the FDA's decision to change the law so that you could no longer discriminate against using the blood of a gay man or a gay woman. He added, I directed the administration to promote human rights for LGBTQ people everywhere. And I think the thing that he's still fighting for us is the Equality Act
Yes.
that he still says has not passed, that he really wants it to, because he says when LGBTQ people can get married in this country, you could still be denied access if a business wants to. But with the Equality Act, they would not be able to. And it's his goal to get that passed. He's working hard on that. I just love the man. I think he's just, his service to our country in America has been monumental. I adore him so much. And I encourage everyone to read this article. When you heard about this, what did you think?
Well, I agree with you about the fact that they don't toot their own horns enough because other people out there, I'm not going to name any names, they will say that they had the best thing ever and it's not anywhere near the best thing ever. But some other people out there, they have no issue exclaiming that they are the best in the world. So I think he should take a page from that book and start to put out there his accomplishments as far as everything goes. I do think that it's a lot for a sitting president to come to a gay publication and sit down with us and really invite us to the table. I think it's like you said, it's it's probably the first time that a sitting president has ever done this, and I think that's fantastic. For me, this shows that he is about having us at the table, and all the things that you've listed has showed that we are invited to be a part of the American community, and I just love that. I think that the man is great. I feel like the proof is going to be in the pudding further down the line. I feel like especially with Trump's presidency, a lot of the things that he sowed, especially with the Supreme Court and overturning Roe v. Wade, all of that it took a while for that to come to fruition. And I feel like the same thing is going to happen with President Biden. All the good things that he has put into the ground for us to bloom in the future, we're not going to see those things until a little bit further down, especially with LGBTQ plus youth and trans youth and his protections that he's put in place to help the young people out there.
Great points. Caladad watching us live says, thank you for lauding President Biden. He really changed the course of history by supporting gay marriage before President Obama. Yeah, little known fact that people don't really get. And I mean, it was maybe a week later that President Obama came around. And
Yeah,
also, they did during President Obama's administration, because my friend went to it, they started the first ever LGBTQ plus gay pride event where they invited influencers and threw a huge party at the White House for gay pride in June. And it was really huge that Obama enacted. But yeah, a lot of people, know we need to know our history. And
oh yeah. For
Joe
me
Biden,
personally, I don't think that he had anything against gay marriage. I feel like he didn't want to alienate the other side of the base, and he was slow coming, but he got there eventually, and
he got
that's
there, and
partly
oh, I mean, we adore
yeah,
President Obama, but let's give kudos to the current president, President Biden, who was ahead
that's right.
of Obama
And I
and
feel like
before. And I think that is like, I've met him before. I went to an LGBTQ event and he was just so gracious, and I just adored him. And I think, well, he has stepped aside for Kamala Harris, which I think was the right decision. We need to really look at what he's done. And there, the list is, we don't have time on the show to go through the list of the things
The
he's
list is
done
long.
just for our community. But I will again post this article on Tags Podcast, episode 601, for you to read for yourself. All right, let's move on to some more positive news, to Marlon Wayans. The Wayans just like, they're like the gift that keeps on giving on comedy. I just adore that family. Don't you, Kodi?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And I was watching something the other day. Oh, it was this. It was Club Shay Shay, which we're going to be talking about in just a second. And Marlon Wayans was talking about In Living Color in general, and how, that came about because I think it was Damon got fired from SNL, and they wouldn't have Keenan on, and just the impact and the social impact of In Living Color, how amazing it was. So I remember those days. Can you believe it was so long ago, but it was only on for 4 years?
I can't. And so it gives us so much. And you can watch all those clips on social media. Well, Marlon Wayans had the best response to Elon Musk's mistreatment of his trans daughter. Both of them have trans children. And we've reported before that Elon Musk does not have a relationship at all with his trans child. In fact, they want nothing to do with him. And on a recent episode of, what was the show that he was on, Kodi?
Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp.
Exactly. He showed so much support and talked a lot about his trans child. Quote unquote, I don't like what he be saying about his trans child. That made me mad, Wayans said. You don't treat them babies like that. You don't disown your baby. Love your child. Wayans admitted that his son Kai's transition was hard for him at first. And when he says hard at first, it took a week, a long week, he said, but a week for him to comprehend it, get it. And he said that many of his family members did not and still don't accept him, but he is all about God and it's his child. He said, I'm proud that I got there in a week. I'm sad to say that some parents and some family members and some people, it will take them a lifetime and they'll never even get that magical place that I'm at, which is just acceptance. Till my child, it's still my child. That's my baby. And I watched,
Oh,
I can read this, but I watched it and it almost brought tears to my eyes because he was on a show that I know mostly African African American males watch. It's probably a very Black centric podcast.
mhm.
And I think this is the information that Marlon Wayans is going to be such a good example for the Black community to see him with the trans child, his acceptance, and his 1 week. I mean, I think everybody, it takes a minute when you lay something on somebody like that. It took him a week to get there, but he is all about God and he is all about spreading the good word. Last week, you and I were talking about Ice-T and said, oh, I can't keep up with all these pronouns and I just call everybody motherfucker. And it was like, okay, Ice-T, take a seat, because you know what, watch Marlon Wayans, listen to this podcast, because it's really not that hard. Marlon Wayans in this interview referred to his trans child as they, and it took him a week to get there. Okay, Ice-T, like your old ass, like get it together. Like, I just think we need more of, no, it's pathetic. It's stupid. It's just like, why did you even put that out there on social media? It was dumb. It makes you look old and antiquated. And Marlon Wayans, is just such a shining example for the Black community, I think.
Well, I think Marlon is an amazing example of a father, period, because he was talking about Elon Musk, who is not Black. I don't know if we know this, but so I feel like he is a great father, and his willingness to understand is unconditional, and I think that's fantastic. He referred to his child a lot in they them terms. He did misgender his son. I think once, but I'm willing to overlook that. I think that it's wonderful that he's at least even trying, and he wants to understand more, something that he can. I don't even understand how he could understand it. So I think that it is something that, you know, his love and his unconditional love is, which he says in the podcast, has bridged that gap for him to actually overcome his preconceived notions about what a trans person is, and the fact that he thought he knew who his child was going to be growing up. A lot of that is letting go of all of that. So he's a great father, and he's a great man, and he's so funny. He's a great dramatic
Oh
actor
my
too. I
God.
can't speak his praises enough.
Yeah, and I just think it's so important, like with Marlon Wayans. Magic Johnson is another good example of
Oh
somebody
yeah,
that
definitely.
huge figure, huge sports figure, basketball, HIV, and really just stepped up to the plate, has a not trans child, but a
Gender
is
non-conforming, definitely. EJ,
yeah,
let me look it up.
yeah, look that up because we don't want to get that wrong. But I just think
Right?
these are huge African American celebrity figures in a community that always doesn't accept, you know, differences about LGBTQ plus. And I think they are so needed, and their word speaks volumes. And they don't have to do it, but they are showing so much love. So, and I love it. Did you
Oh,
find out?
definitely. I'm looking right now. He says,
Okay.
they say I can be masculine, I can be feminine, I can do whatever I want and work with it. So
Oh,
it's not, it's inconclusive right now. So we're going to use they, them pronouns for EJ.
I love it. Okay, what's my next story? Okay, yeah, no. Over the weekend, there's so much going on right now. Who could keep track? But the Emmys happened, and there were some great winners. We'll let you look that up on your own. But RuPaul's Drag Race, which has won the best, what is it? The best drag
Reality,
competition, reality show, competition show, or
yeah,
just like reality
reality
show?
competition show. I believe so.
Reality competition show for the last several years, lost to a show that you love and one of my best friends of all
Love.
time, Frank. Shout out to Frank in LA, Traders. First of all, what'd you think about that?
I thought it was amazing. I thought, you know, it's still an LGBTQ plus centered show because Alan Cumming hosts, and I think there are several LGBTQ plus individuals in the cast. I know that Bob the Drag Queen is going to be on the next season, so I cannot wait for that. And oh yeah, Peppermint was on last season too. So cool. Kudos to Traders. It is a great show. It's completely addictive. I gotta get you up on it. Have you ever watched it?
I haven't, but I've heard about it. Maybe I will try it out. But one of the things that occurred on Sunday was many of the drag queens that have been in several seasons throughout the years showed up on the red carpet to show their support for their nomination and to celebrate their 8 nominations. And the drag competition show didn't end up snatching up any trophies. But here's what happened: that a reporter decided to cause a little bit. He tried to read. He shouldn't have opened the library up, is really what happened. Chris
He
Gardner,
had
a
a
senior,
pamphlet.
yeah, Chris Gardner, he's a senior staff writer from the Hollywood Reporter, shared a video of the drag race queens seemingly leaving their seats. You know, we've all seen these competitions, or excuse me, these award shows, and many of them left their seats. But he decided to quote, after 5 wins, RuPaul's Drag Race loses for best reality competition to the Traders. After the category was announced, the team from Drag Race, including all the queens, cleared out and headed to the lobby. Well, that was a little bit of misrepresentation, Kodi, because what really happened, and the queens were quick to open the library up and read him back, they were going for cocktails. If anyone knows anything about drag queens, they love a cocktail moment, or they were going to
And a
untuck to go to the restroom for a minute, but they were not leaving the show. And one queen pointed out that we were not leaving this show. We were waiting for invitations to the after parties. We would never leave that. So his silly thing that he put out there that was, as many of the queens pointed out, that was meant to stir up drama. Do never come for a drag queen. I mean, you know that the minute you go to a drag brunch where you're on stage yourself too, because you never know. You never come for a drag queen. You mind your P's and Q's. They will rip you a new one. I mean, what did you think about this whole moment that they decided to tell him,
Well, Chris learned a valuable lesson that day, and I think that the queens read him down because more than one commented on his post. Even Tsunami Muse even mentioned that this is something that people do for clicks and bait and this social discourse online, and it is getting ridiculous and out of hand to where you're saying inflammatory things and accusing people of things that they didn't do. So I think that he has learned his lesson. He's not getting a drink ticket or an invite to the after party. And I think that the queens know what's going on. Congratulations to Traders. I wish there could have been two prizes so that Traders could have won and Drag Race could have won. But
I think
I'm
it's
happy
kind of
with the
nice
solution.
that they are spreading the love.
The love
And like
around.
you said, it is hosted by none other than Alan Cummings. And yeah, I think it's all good.
Yeah, but this cast was very strong. It had Plain Jane on it. It had Dawn. It had the winner Nymphia Wynn and Safira Cristal. And I think that the drama was something I wasn't really used to because it felt a little bit not manufactured, but it felt played up a little bit. It was something special about this season. So I wish they could have got some accolades, but it is what it is.
Got it. Okay. Coming from a huge fan.
A
Okay.
connoisseur of
A
Drag Race, darling.
connoisseur of Drag Race, yes. Okay, well, we all know about Ryan Murphy, and we all know about all of his shows that he puts out there, American Horror Story, Glee, for a lot of you Glee fans out there. But he also has a series called Monster. And the first series of Monster was a series that we talked about on this show, was the Jeffrey Dahmer story. And there was a little bit of controversy back then because of perhaps the glorifying of a serial killer. If you know anything about Jeffrey Dahmer, he was a serial killer where he lured gay men and then murdered them. And it was, I mean, but I actually, did you watch it, Kodi? Because I can't
No,
remember.
I
You never
I am a
watched
little
it?
bit. I'm scared to watch it. I think I'm going to go back and watch it. And yeah, I
You
just
say that, but you're not.
I
I
get
know you're
creeped
not.
out.
You don't
You
have to
don't
watch
know.
it,
Maybe
but
we can watch it together.
I'm not rewatching that. But neat,
I'm
who
not
is really
rewatching
good in
that.
it? I know. I'm not
Niecy
doing
Nash.
that. Niecy Nash is so good in it.
I
And
know.
yeah, that's
That would
worth
be the
watching.
reason I rewatch it.
Yeah.
Also, the lead, Evan Peters. I
Tell
hear
your
he's
ex to
really good
watch it because
too.
he didn't know who she was before.
Oh my God. Oh, you start and you're starting.
Starting up again.
No, no, no.
But what? Niecy, what were you
So,
saying?
yeah, I want to watch her, and he knows who she is now. So I think that
Okay,
that's
good,
gonna
because we
be
schooled him.
fabulous. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
here's the
Continue, darling. Continue.
Here's the thing about Ryan Murphy's new Monster series. It's about the Menendez brothers. Do you guys remember them? The Menendez brothers were very good looking brothers that ended up murdering their parents. And there's been several series out there. There was a Lifetime series on it. There was constant things. Some people are suggesting, because we watched the trailer, I will post this on TAGSPodcast.com, that it's maybe making it a little bit too homoerotic. To learn a little bit about the Menendez brothers, like we said, they came from money. Apparently, the father, that's going to be played by Javier Bardem, who I adore, such a great actor, coming to TV is really a great, you know, thing that we're going to be able to see him. But the real Menendez brothers' father apparently molested the kids when they were younger. And that's all going to come out to play in this series. And as the story goes, the brothers conspire and murder their parents, but viciously, with, like, I mean, shoot them to death. It's awful, and this shows all of that apparently in the new series. But the thing that it also does, and I watched the trailer, I think you did too, is it seems to maybe suggest that it's a little bit too glorifying and homoerotic, suggesting that maybe the boys had a sexual relationship too. At least that's what I got in it too. And it brings up the question, do and I'll just start by saying before I bring up the question, I'm probably going to watch this because I think it's salacious and I love those true crime shows, and this is right up my alley. But is Ryan Murphy playing a little bit too much on homoeroticism when maybe it didn't exist in the first place?
I think that he is, yeah, he's definitely playing up into it. There is some overlap as far as homoerotic themes in this because from what I understand, the father molested the two boys, and
Yes.
unfortunately, and that is what led to them actually murdering the father. But I don't think there was a relationship between the two the brothers. So I think that because I watched the trailer as well, and it looks like they about to get down in the bed after the at the end of the trailer. And I was because I watched a second trailer that was, I think it was on Twitter, and they're like holding each other in their
Yeah.
underwear. It's super. I was taken aback. I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand. And I get that they're beautiful men, right? That are in
Were.
this TV show.
They're
Oh, well,
rotting
they
in
are.
they're rotting in prison right now. So they're
I'm talking about
probably,
the actors in the actual TV
well, the
show.
real
I get
ones
that.
were like attractive at one point, but now they're rotting in
Okay.
jail because they murdered their parents.
Okay. Well, I was talking about the actors. So the actors are beautiful men. So I get that they want to play up the whole uh, homoerotic type of attractive people and in the show and show them naked and with their clothes off and things of that nature. Anything to kind of sell sex, because sex sells. So they want to sell the show. So I get that, but I think that this is not the time or place for it. But it's in Ryan Murphy's bag of tricks, so of course he's going to use it.
Yeah, I'm a little conflicted. I'm conflicted because I will probably watch this for sure. And I will also watch his other show. He has, American Horror Story. This is, what is this one called? American
This is called Monsters.
Monsters, which is another, he likes to do these series. He has another one
Hmm.
called American Sports Story. And there's a current one about the Aaron Hernandez story. I don't know much about football, but Aaron Hernandez was an NFL football player that ultimately murdered, I believe he murdered his father. And he was so good looking too. And he committed suicide in jail. But he apparently had a gay relationship at one point, and that's what makes it kind of salacious. I will be watching this as well too. So I'm here for these retelling of these real life stories. And if you know anything about me, I often watch like true crime stuff. I love all that kind of thing. Um, I think, is the criticism valid? Perhaps. Maybe he is going a little bit too much towards the homoeroticism of it all, but it's a retelling of a story. You get to tell the story the way you want to. It's a retelling. It's not. No one ever said. I'm sure they'll have a
A
disclaimer at the
disclaimer.
beginning that will say that. But hey, Ryan Murphy is a bigwig, a gay man, is a producer and telling stories for our community. He gets to tell them the way he wants to, and if there's a slight angle towards it, we haven't seen a lot of homoeroticism on major networks at all. And if that's his way, I think everybody should just also keep in mind when you watch these things about the true stuff, just know that it is with a grain of salt. It probably didn't happen. It didn't happen exactly this way, and this is just an interpretation. Watch the Lifetime
Mm.
one if you really want to know a different version of it, which I guarantee you the Lifetime television network version of the Melendez brothers is also not probably a real life telling of the actual incidents. It's Lifetime. Come on, people. Use your head.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that um, we still haven't seen anything of this series, and for me, I'm kind of hoping that the homoerotic nature between the brothers is kind of left in the advertisements, but we'll see. I think I am going to watch this one because the Melendez brothers, definitely the story gripped me a little bit, so I feel like I'm going to give it a watch. That the true
Let's
crime
watch it
is
and
is
let's give her a
let's
final
do it.
review.
Well, we could do it for the Patreon.
There
We can
you
watch the first
go.
show for the Patreon. I got a little smart sometimes. Um,
You have a lot
uh,
of smarts.
Thank you, darling. We have some comments here that
Go ahead.
relate to the Melendez brothers. Calidad says the Melendez brothers, their story didn't make sense until the molestation allegations. Ryan Murphy picked up what I think others may have been feeling at the time. Malibu says, when you look at the evidence, their actions, and what was proven, never was sexual abuse mentioned until the attorney Leslie Abras Abramson, okay, brought it
Okay.
up for the defense purposes. Sex sells, and these salacious stories don't necessarily help. It's made for entertainment purposes. And Calidad just posted, those were different times. The society was much less open about molestation. The brothers may have not wanted to embarrass themselves or their family. So that's a little bit of clarification as far as what went down back in that happened in the 90s, right?
I believe so. Yes.
I was just a baby, so.
Of course you were, darling. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on right now. We got to talk about an artist we've talked about a lot on this show called Troye Sivan. Love him. Rush is the video that came out. He's currently on tour with Charlie XCX, and they've done Europe. They're about to do their North American tour. He responded recently to a TikToker that does pop culture that basically said that the tour was not selling out at all in the States, called him a twink, and said that Troye Sivan doesn't really care if it's not selling out because he's going to be on Grindr in all of the cities. Well, that obviously bothered Troy for him to create a video on his own and say, I could get laid anywhere. I don't need to go on tour. I'm on tour to promote a new album that is doing well. And by the way, the tour is selling 90% and is doing really well. And he doesn't need this, somebody coming on, an entertainment reporter, seeing that it's not selling. The only city he admitted to it's not selling out is in Nashville, which is crazy. We lost you for a second, Kodi. Can you hear me?
I'm back.
You're back. I just was saying he had said that the tour is actually selling out 90%, and they have 22 shows, and that the only city that's really not selling that great right now is Nashville. It's at 75%. Maybe not surprising for their style of music,
I
Charlie
mean,
XCX,
there it is.
but whatever, 75% is good. So I love the clap back because he is not. He also said it's very homophobic to kind of say that somebody would, like a, a gay artist would be only on tour to get on Grindr to see who they could sleep with. And he's like, that's homophobic to say that. And what did you think about his clapback? Because I think it was well stated.
I
And
love it.
all these
Yeah,
clapbacks, I'm here for it.
come with the facts, honey. Don't read a drag queen. Don't read
Don't
a
read
tweet.
Troy.
Because they will come with the facts, especially if they're in the right. I feel like Troy knows his audience and he knows what he's doing, and I feel like is it, he's not gonna let these haters just say anything willy nilly about what's going on with him and his tour and his touring partner Charlie XCX. I feel like if Nashville doesn't have a Brat Summer, I'm okay with it. I think that Brat is universal, and if they want to be left out, that is totally fine. I think that when Damn it, I just lost it. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And he is selling out. And I think to use terms like he's only on Grindr is stereotypical that, oh, now that gays are, he says straights don't get to do this. It's as if like, okay, straights now know about Grindr. It's in the ethosphere now. And you know, running around rumors that the tour is not selling out, but he's fine because he's just going to get a lot of sex is ridiculous. So it's just the tour is selling. He's promoting an album like any other musical artist does. He's a
Mm-hmm.
global international success. He's with Charlie XCX, who is the global sensation right
Booming.
now. Shut your ass, sit yourself down. You don't know what you're talking about. And I love the clapback. Go,
Oh
Troy.
yeah, I remember what it
I
is.
almost want to buy
You know,
tickets if I can go because I'm just thinking,
let's
shut
go.
the fuck up, motherfucker. These stupid journalists that like think that they
Yeah,
or he's not even a
they know
journalist. He's
everything.
just like a
Some rando.
entertainment. Yeah, but you know, we talk about pop culture here, but we give kudos to when it's deserved, and we're not just gonna like shout out like it's just ridiculous.
We're uplifting here, I feel like. I feel what I was gonna say was, like Troy said, he can get sex anywhere, and it's super reductive of this person to say that to limit Troye Sivan only to his sexual orientation and the fact that he is sexually progressive. So I think that this person is way out of line, and they need to reevaluate themselves. And again, this is another case of someone saying something inflammatory online to get clicks and views. It's the path to destruction for social media and things of that nature.
Oh my gosh, we have comments coming in, and Malibu says, "I love when Steve says motherfucker."
Like
Very
Ice-T.
demure. I love hilarious. I think we have time for an advice that I want you to pick, and then we have our
Okay.
thirst trap that I'm going to put in the comment section right now. But go ahead, Kodi, and pick out what advice are we giving because that's what we do on this show.
They're all really good. I think I'm gonna go with, because this one is equal parts sexy and advisory. There's a DP one that I want to get to eventually, but
Ooh,
because I have some advice on that one. But I
okay.
want to do the one that says what activities spice up sex life. What do you think about that one? Do you like that one?
Let's do it. Do you want to just read it since you're there?
Sure. So on Reddit, someone asks, what activities spice up sex life? I am a virgin and I am trying to discover the sex lifestyle and to see what I would enjoy. I have experimented a lot with sex toys. Give me your insights. I also picked it because it was super short.
You know what's so funny about this one is one of the first comments on this one said, "Well, you're a virgin, so pretty much anything is new to you. So just have general basic sex and it's all going to be great." And I agree with
Yeah.
that too. Recently, with my boyfriend, we have great sex, and I decided to tell him like, and I told him like when we weren't having sex, I said it'd be great if we could mix it up and try something like, and I'm just going to be really honest. Like, I don't know if he's watching, but like on doggy style sometime. And do you know he got the cue? We didn't talk it during sex. We talked about it like at a different time, and he initiated what I had said, a different position, and
Hmm.
during the moment of the next sex moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, you listened to me. You actually listened to me. And you did this. And it made a world of difference of trying something new. So sometimes it's just, talking to your partner about trying something different and implementing it in the moment, which I think is really good. And that's my advice for that. But I think if you're a virgin, I agree with the original person. It's just like everything is new. So just have
Do
sex.
anything. Right? Yeah, I would say for somebody that is more experienced than a virgin, I would say try different venues. I would say go out and relearn your partner or whomever you are dating, or even if you go out and just meet a random person. I feel like the more that you go out and you experience more people, the more spicy life gets,
Try
And
more
I think
dicks. Every
we need
dick
to
is
get
not the
shirts that
same.
say that. Eat more dicks.
You try more
Try more
dicks, eat
dicks.
more dicks. Every dick is not the same. You're new. Just it's like a smorgasbord. Or
Yeah.
Diego watching us live says,
Uh-oh.
I always listen. You don't listen, laughing out loud.
Uh-oh. There it
Okay.
is. There
That's
it
my
is. You better read,
boyfriend talking.
Diego. I love it. I agree. Oh
Hilarious.
man.
Every syllable.
Hilarious. Thank you,
Hilarious.
Diego. Yeah.
Is there a
So
way that we could
also,
like if someone's watching us, we
no,
could just like get rid of
absolutely
them?
not. They're
Oh,
not blocked.
okay.
We're not doing that. Also, if you are dating someone, an easy way is to spice up your sex life is to go pretend like you don't know them and go and relearn each other. And
To
I
leave
think
the
that
door
is
open, like my door is always open. Just like,
don't say that out loud on the
they
podcast. Cut that
know
out.
where I live. They do not know where I live.
DM me, I'll send you his address. Okay.
Oh, thanks. Wrap up your
Oh man.
comment because I want it sounded like a really good one.
Well, yeah, that also always spices things up because sometimes what you're missing is that initial spark from when you are first met, and I think that that can
Yes.
be rediscovered. So, yeah.
That's actually really good advice. Yeah. Sometimes what you're missing, and it's worth restating, is that initial spark. And it's about recreating that and finding new ways to have a new spark. Caladad says, get a room, you two. And the video.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. All right. Well, we are up to our final segment, which is produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. And it asks the question, Thirst Trap Recap, which of these 14 this week, 14 gay porn stars took the best photo? And I like to remind people that this segment used to, by this producer, Straight Up Gay Porn, used to have video, but I like that they got rid of it. They got rid of it because Twitter didn't allow you to embed the video. But I think choosing video and stills is not a really like keep it the same, right, Kodi? This
Oh
is all
yeah, it
video.
makes it more of an even playing field.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And last week's, okay, Edward. Well, let's just go with this week. I put it in the feed. I'll post it on episode 601. Our job on an audio podcast is to vividly describe why we picked the one we picked. And I'm going to go ahead and describe for you, audio filers, why I picked the one. So this week I picked, he goes by, oh my gosh, Con Horror. I love this name.
Mm.
First name Con, C-O-N. Last name Horde. All Horde. He just looks like a fun dude. I say that because he has a backward cap on. He's got those squinty eyes. He's got cute dimples. He has his arm up on one side. He has like this really cool tattoo in his sternum area. And he's got a really thick dick and thick thighs. But and a beautiful ass. So what I like to do, because I have a little bit more time, is go to their Twitter account. If you click on it, Con Horror, he looks like a really fun guy with a
Oh
beautiful
wow, his ass
ass.
is fantastic.
I mean,
Holy shit.
yeah. I just think I'm voting for him right now, and we encourage you to vote for them. Who do you pick and why? Kodi.
Okay, I got distracted by Conhor. I'm sorry.
Isn't he
So my
good?
thing, that ass. I didn't go to his Twitter,
I
but
mean,
that
there's a
ass
lot of
is
good ones. Theo
fantastic.
Brady
Yeah.
is like serving it, and yeah.
Oh yeah, and BoJack Ryan, who follows me on Instagram, so I'm always
Jason
gonna love it.
Fario with that
Yeah. Oh
thick
yeah,
cock.
he's one of my favorites too. And Marcus McNeil is
I
definitely high,
mean, I'm a
but my vote is gonna go to Andres Milan
oh,
because
you
he
just
is
said
just
that
so
with the
hot.
best accent ever.
Oh, thank you. I've been
Andrea,
working. I've been working on it. He's sitting on the floor. He's completely naked. He's got his dick in his hand. It looks like he just jacked off, and that it looks like he just came. Actually, he's got a
and your
baseball cap
description is
on.
everything.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. And it looks like the picture is being taken in a mirror, and there's cum everywhere on the mirror. He's got his mouth wide open, his eyes are closed, and I can just tell it was one of the best orgasms ever. And I think that I'm going to vote for him right now because that picture is insane. So, yeah.
Love it. James Hart says Andres Milan. James Malibu says, Steve, is your hair okay? We're moving to me. Steve, is your haircut considered a mid fade? It's cool. Yes, I just got my haircut today, actually, and I decided to mix it up and do a lower. I'm going to grow it out a little bit, keep you guys up to date, and it's a lower fade. So thank you for noticing. I really appreciate that. I had a whole conversation with my barber today. Who's a Trump supporter, and that's the beauty that you can actually get along with people.
What?
Yeah, no,
Oh
we
my
get along
goodness.
really well. Yeah,
We got to
no,
end this show. We got to
that's
talk.
okay. We're ending this show. I want to thank everybody for watching us live. We really appreciate your commentary adds so much to the show. Thank you for joining us live. But of course, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/TAGSPodcast. You can follow my co-host. He is a life coach at KMD Coaching. You can also follow him on the gram at Mr. Maurice. But he has a brand, an Indiegogo funding source because he's trying to produce his new EP. And if you've heard the new single, Talk About It, inspired by this show, you got to support him. What is the name of your Indiegogo to support you, Kodi?
It's Kodi Maurice EP. And yeah, just go to Indiegogo. You should be able to find it.
Put it in the comment section, but I'll put it on show
will.
notes. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Follow me on Twitter, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans or OnlyFans, and it's at Tags Podcast. New content coming out each week. Go to our Patreon page where you can support us, patreon.com/Tags Podcast. And Kodi, in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay
sex.
sex.